next piece is called Straight Shot to the Clit, which is what I wanted to call this poem, this entire show. And there was a small focus group that helped me not call it Straight Shot to the Clit. First, I texted my friend Dana, who's a lawyer, and said that legally she didn't feel like that was the best move. Thank you, Dana. And then Dana likes to call her and my mother the focus group for the title. And then I called my mother and she said, that's just unnecessary and provocative. Why don't you call it Being Myself or Coming Home? And I was like, oh, Coming Home, C-U-M-M-I-N-G. And she's like, there's another spelling for it? I said, yes, Mom, there is. And now we all know that coming is a different kind of coming. Or it's the same kind of coming, whatever you want it to be. So just keep in mind that that I stand on stage and talk about masturbation in front of my mother. That's all that you need to know. My father may come say hi at the end. He cannot handle this shit. He is very supportive and loving and will let me write whatever the fuck I want, but he doesn't necessarily always want to hear it. I understand, that's fine. I'm still gonna say it. When I masturbate, I get this physical indent on the bridge of my nose. Like the line where the frames of glasses connect. It's like a branding, like, I just had a bajillion orgasms because I know how to work my vagina. I first discovered the indent in my early 30s when I looked in the mirror after masturbating one day. I don't know when the indent situation started. I've been masturbating since high school, though it took a few years for me to have an orgasm. I had my first orgasm at 17 with the smooth rounded top of a mini hotel shampoo bottle in the shower in Hawaii after a day on the beach during family vacation. Like a goddamn game of Clue. Which is really all masturbation and orgasm is. Figuring out what object in what room with what kind of person or non-person. It's like, I'll take the bathtub faucet in my childhood bathroom with Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. Or the dude who was my customer at the sports bar I worked at in Atlanta after college. His room at the Crowne Plaza with his motherfucking tongue in hands. That's how to work my vagina. Once I figured out how to have an orgasm, it was an all goddamn bets are off field day. I remember the victory of leaning against that shower in the hotel with water pouring down on my face, just like, I fucking nailed it. I fucking nailed myself, literally. And I was a serious academic student, so this was like getting straight A's. This was like the A on my AP English paper about manifest destiny and Ralph Waldo Emerson, except unlike the white supremacist patriarchal settlers who ransacked what became the United States of America, I invited myself to consensually conquer my clitoris and take over my crotch. I masturbated a good amount for the next few years. With my hand, with the shower head, with the bathtub faucet. And with the bathtub faucet, I would shove my legs alongside the side of the bathtub, manipulating the water to stream straight shot to the clit. That's how I describe anything that's on point. Straight shot to the clit. It's like, how do you get from Harlem to Tribeca? Oh, just get on the 1 train at City College and get out at Houston. Straight shot to the clit. I also, because I'm a relentless perfectionist, couldn't handle when it took too long to climax. Once, I had my bathing suit on to go swim laps sophomore year of college, and I ended up on my dorm room floor next to my bed, and an hour later, I was still masturbating. Brutally late for a meeting. I jumped on my bike, stormed across campus, still in my bathing suit with sweatpants from overnight camp to keep me warm. After the meeting, I told my friend why I'd been late. I couldn't stop masturbating until I had an orgasm. That's always been key for me. Having tons of friends of all genders and non-binary identities with whom to talk about masturbation. That knocked the shame out that shit in high school. Right out. It made it so much easier to functionally allow myself the freedom to climax and feel knowing I could talk about it with anyone, to anyone, at any time, even my mom and sister. Sophomore year of college was a big masturbation year. My friend took me to Condom Kingdom in South Philly to get my first vibrator. South Street in Philly. I don't want to mess up the cardinal degrees. It was red and cost $20. It was about 4 inches long and 3/4 of an inch wide and had a black base that turned to operate the single AA battery. I had 2 more like it throughout my 20s. The third, a pink marble one, the last of the original make until I upgraded in my early 30s, sat mostly dormant for the 4.5 years while I was in a long-term partnership. I only used it 4 or 5 times throughout that relationship. I didn't even use a faucet or my hand or the shower head, you know, my triumvirate of non-battery operated masturbation tools, because I just didn't have the desire to masturbate. I was having pretty epic orgasms with my partner where I'd see layers of my past lives resurrect in the middle of panting. I'm not making that shit up. It was different from the green and black checkerboards and pinwheels I used to see when I'd take 45-minute showers in my parents' bathroom when no one else was home and I was back from boarding school or college, because that shower head had multiple settings and I swear to God that shit made me see Candyland on the back of my eyelids. After my partner and I began breaking up, I had my first impulse to masturbate while on tour in Georgia. I got down with a hotel bathroom faucet. And then a few days later, now back home in Brooklyn, I pulled my neglected pink marble vibrator out from the washcloth in which I wrapped and tucked it for safekeeping behind my socks and underwear. I was 30 years old and this whole part of myself that I'd been neglecting was resurfacing. It was exciting to revisit now in a new decade with a long-term relationship under my belt. Literally. Got that one? Under my belt? Yeah. It was exactly a year later when I upgraded to a high-quality vibrator. The pink marble shit shut down. Just stopped. Mid-masturbation. The battery started wheezing and just fucking stopped. I remember begrudgingly moving my right hand over my pelvic bone and ultimately feeling utter gratitude in the fact that it still worked. I didn't need batteries. Still, I wanted a new vibrator, so I went to Babeland for help. I didn't originally have Babeland in here, so I should get like sponsorship or something for mentioning them. I hadn't gotten a new vibrator in 6 years. I knew there had to be new technology, so what were my options? Where did I start? After the employee walked me through options, I was mostly set on this luxury edition vibrator that was super fucking expensive. But it had a secret surprise setting and was waterproof, and I was ready for more mystery in the game of Clue that was my orgasm. I told the employee that I needed some time. They understood. I sat on a bench outside the shop and called one of my best friends, Lindsay. I'm not going to say her name. She's here. Lindsay surprised me on Wednesday from Los Angeles, and she's also here with her parents, so now know that Lindsay's parents are also hearing all this too. You're used to it. They know what to expect. They're well-groomed for this shit I say on stage. I sat on a bench outside the shop and called Lindsay. I'm about to spend $189 on a vibrator, I told her. We discussed what it meant for me to treat my sexuality with the same respect I'd treated so many other parts of myself. Investing in my orgasm, my climax, my between-the-eyes indentation meant taking the next step as an adult. To say that the purchase was worth it would be an understatement. That vibrator is a maker of beautiful, brilliant orgasms. And it doesn't make it impossible for me to still masturbate with my hands or a bathtub faucet. Though, as I write this piece of writing, and as I'm standing here right now, I have not had sex since its purchase, a long time ago. So I do wonder what will happen when the fantasizing and visualizing that often accompanies my masturbation is no longer happening alongside myself alone in my head. What I visualize when masturbating has shifted throughout the ages. Like in college, during the 1.5 years I was deliberately celibate to heal from having been sexually abused in high school and raped in college. I would visualize nothing. I was totally focused on my vulva and vagina and inner core. You all know that the vulva and vagina are 2 different things. Okay, we need to just like spread that, because pun intended, because I don't know that everyone knows that. If you want to, only spread consensually. That's also very important. I was totally focused on my vulva, vagina, and inner core. I was awakening something from within, rebirthing that which had been taken. In the reclamation, in the celibacy, there wasn't room for other imaging. In my early 20s, I thought about past sexual experiences or hypothetical ones with sexual partners I'd already had. Sometimes, though not often, I thought about people I'd met but didn't know. Like this dude from an unsuccessful business meeting. I still hope it remains unsuccessful. Or a woman I met at the edge of the Mississippi River on a solo road trip I took after college. I wasn't big on fantasizing unknown famous people other than Sharon Stone in high school. And when I try to think about my celebrity crushes like Tony Hawk, Omar Epps, or Ryan Gosling, it just didn't work. In the months leading to my 32nd birthday, I started occasionally watching internet porn for the first time in my life. And not just like porn, lesbian porn. I couldn't handle the misogyny inherent in a lot of the non-feminist straight porn I came across, as it seemed intended for a male gaze. The small slice of lesbian porn I did watch was far gentler, far more inherent of how I myself wanted to be treated and touched, far closer to how I envisioned a partner making a consensual, giving and receptive impression on me and my body would be. As for the face indent, feels like the mark of God, which feels appropriate because I don't know how else to describe an orgasm. It's the mark of something otherworldly, especially when I'm feeling layers of my past life in ancient Egypt resurfacing. It doesn't get better than that. When I'm masturbating, I'm making an impression on myself. A mark for me, with me, by me. And I'm good at having orgasms. And that's not about knowing how to work my clit or vagina. I feel like that has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's about being able to pay attention to the dialogue happening inside myself. Like when my body has an urge to refresh attention and knows there is no other way to release said tension other than an orgasm, and then knowing that no orgasm is ever the same, so each urge has different wants and needs, and my body and mind have to make unique choices every single time to remain present. It's like how I eat intuitively, or how I know when to go to the bathroom, or stretch, or scratch an itch, or take a walk. That's what I mean when I say I'm good at orgasming. It's just another way I'm always prepared to allow my body to feel. Thank you.